Funding for this program was provided by Community Trust Bank, serving the communities of North Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi for more than a century. Community Trust Bank is a proud partner of LPB's Louisiana Legends.
Funding for this program was provided by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.
Energetic even before birth, Leon Eric Brooks III received the nickname Kix from his mother Pat during her pregnancy. For more than 3 decades, as a songwriter and performer, Louisiana legend Kix Brooks has been bringing that same high energy to millions of adoring country music fans.
Kix started playing the guitar early, about 10 or 11 years old, and loved to perform for his family, and just never stopped.
Raised in Shreveport, Kix's interest in music was sparked by his father, Leon, who was also a great storyteller. It wasn't until after graduation from Louisiana Tech that Kix tried his hand as a full-time performer, playing at clubs in the Ark-La-Tex area and New Orleans. Eventually, he landed in Nashville in 1980 as a songwriter. Bands like the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band found success with his tunes. In 1990, after a promising solo album release, Kix was approached by the president of Arista Records.
He had 2 artists that he really liked. One was Kix Brooks. The other was Ronnie Dunn. And he came up with this idea that they were both so equally talented that he thought they would be a real synergistic force as a duo.
Within 1 year, Brooks and Dunn's first single blasted to #1, as did their next 3 releases. By 1992, they won the first of 16 Country Music Association awards, the most in the history of the CMA. They also earned 2 Grammys and a People's Choice Award. In 2004, Kix served as president of the board of the Country Music Association. Before Brooks and Dunn disbanded in 2010, they sold more records than any other country duo. Kix continues performing and hosting his award-winning American Country Countdown radio program.
He meets the public very generously. He gives of himself and to a lot of people, I think, and that's an endearing quality.
Kix fame has brought him the opportunity to help others in need, including those in his home state, lending his name to charity events such as the Kix Brooks Invitational Golf Tournament to raise money for his alma mater, Louisiana Tech, and the Methodist Children's Home in Ruston.
One of the things I think that happens to highly successful people is sometimes they forget their roots, and Kix is one who has never done that. He has always been faithful and loyal to his longtime friends. He's always been cognizant of the fact that he is a Louisiana boy and is grounded in Louisiana. I think that's one of the things that makes him an outstanding Louisiana legend.
Hello, I'm Beth Courtney. Welcome to Louisiana Legends. We're here at Squire Creek Country Club near Ruston in North Louisiana with Louisiana legend Kix Brooks. And Kix, we are in the middle of a golf game, or you were in the middle of a golf game.
Yes, they're having a big tournament here today, you know. I'm doing good. Are we done? Can I go now?
No. We'd like to visit with you just a little bit. What's it like to come home?
Well, it's great. Of course, here in Ruston at Squire Creek is like my favorite place to play golf. And Terry Bradshaw and I do a tournament here every year to raise money for Tech, and I always look forward to it. Terry's a great friend, and good chance for us to get together and to try and give back a little to our university that we love so much. But it's always great to get back to Louisiana. It is home for me, and I always get a great feeling when I cross a state line, and this is one of my favorite places.
Well, does it inspire maybe a little songwriting?
Oh, yeah, always. And I still have a family farm here. We've been farming about 50 miles south of Monroe since 1804, and I was down there yesterday and just went and rode the woods and the crops like I always do. And
what do you farm?
Well, we used to farm all cotton back when, but now it's pretty much all corn. You know, cotton has, over the years, the price went down, and to produce cotton got so expensive. And corn is a great crop for Louisiana because our corn crop comes in before Nebraska and all the big farms up there. So for Louisiana, it's turned into a really good crop. So we're kind of all corn all the time now.
Well, looking back certainly at, as we were examining sort of your life story, if you will, you are a man of many talents. You're in many interests as well, farming and songwriting, of course, we all know about, but also, and winemaking now, too.
Yeah, I have Arrington Vineyards, about 30 minutes south of Nashville, and we opened it about 5 years ago, but we put grapes in the ground about 10 years ago, and Tennessee does really well on certain kinds of grapes, and my mission is just to make great wine regardless. So we crushed over 500,000 pounds of grapes from Napa Valley and Washington State last year, Cabernet Syrah, grapes that don't do so well in Tennessee, and have a great winemaker, but we bring the fruit in just like a grocery store would on cooler trucks, and we do the crush, make all the wine there and bottle it, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, of course, most of our viewers probably know you from your fabulous career as a songwriter and performer, and you're still performing.
Oh, right? Absolutely. Ronnie and I quit touring a couple of years ago, and it was great for me when I was at Tech. A lot of people don't know, but I was actually a theater major. I studied music at Tech, but I wasn't in the marching band or the school choir or the orchestra because I was already playing clubs at that time. So I didn't get a major in music, and I switched over to speech and got into theater. So when we came off the road, I went to my agents at William Morris, who have a huge agency in Hollywood, and said, if any good parts come through, let me know. And they threw a really cool part my way, and after that movie, the director offered me a leading role in a really cool Western that we made last year. So I really dug in, studied hard, and had a great time doing that. And after that, formed a production company with these same people, and we've made 2 movies since then. Even Trace Adkins, Tech alumni as well, was in my last movie, as well as a lot of great actors that actually know what they're doing. And we've had a lot of fun and have scripts in the works, and so we're dug in on that too. But all that time I was writing songs, and I finally got around to recording them last year, and my first single's out, and it's in the top 40, and I have a new album coming out in a couple of months. So.
That is fabulous. Well, certainly, songwriting is sort of storytelling, if you will, and I understand that your father was a great storyteller.
He was. He's way better than me.
Really?
I really did learn from him. Whether he just went to the grocery store, he would come back with the rest of the evening would be entertainment with the people he'd ran into or whatever he was buying. So, and you're exactly right. That's what songwriting's all about. And there's no state richer than Louisiana and no greater personalities. All of us that live here know that. So I've got a great will to draw from.
Well, that's great. Tell me about some of those the stories, the movies that you're thinking about, your production company. So what's in the future? What are you looking for? To do things with Louisiana tax credits or something maybe here?
Absolutely we are. In fact, the Western we did, my character, I hate to give the whole movie away, but he supposedly got killed in this movie, this cowboy did, but it turns out he actually made it. So we're thinking about doing a sequel that we're calling a Swampstern, and we thought we'd go down to my farm, and maybe this cowboy's got to go somewhere. He can't stay out west, so maybe he goes to Louisiana. And we also have a horror movie in the works that,
wow.
My farm backs up to Turkey Creek, not too far from Winsboro, which is a classic Louisiana-looking swamp, big cypress trees and the hanging moss and the whole deal. And it makes for some good spooky environment late at night. So we're working on that.
Well, that's awfully exciting. I guess I'm looking back because you and your partner won virtually every award you could possibly win. You're the most awarded country music duo, and so rather than looking backwards, you're looking to go forward to new things.
Absolutely. I mean, that was fun. Yeah. We were certainly blessed so far beyond our dreams and expectations. I think that's why we did it for 20 years. We never expected to be together that long. People keep asking us why we broke up or what we're doing. Ronnie and I are still good friends, but you try so hard for so long for something like that to happen, and neither one of us were going to take it for granted. So I think we rode that horse about as far as it needed to go, and we're both really enjoying different things and still making music.
That's
too.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, the tournament that you and Terry Bradshaw are involved in, really raising money for Tech, why do you feel such a particular bond to your university?
Oh, I love Ruston and really love Tech. I mean, growing up, I went to military school and high school up in Sewanee, Tennessee. And as much as I love that mountain and really appreciate what a great education I got up there, I couldn't wait to get back home. And all my buddies were at Tech, and it was such a great, loose environment. We had a house out in the country, and that's really I'd still be there if my father hadn't realized how many hours it took to graduate. That was a really bad night when he goes, so how many hours does it take anyway? And, well, how many do you have? And I'm like, yeah, that's when he said maybe I ought to think about a curriculum or something like that.
Right. But you worked briefly in Maine, did you?
When I got out of school, my sister hired me. She has an advertising agency up in Maine. I was just going to keep playing music in clubs, and she called me up right after I graduated and said, would you be interested in doing the radio and television production for the commercials and things we're doing? And again, being a speech major and whatever, it sounded like fun, and I was just kind of playing clubs and piddling around. So I said, God, I've never been one to turn down a good adventure. So yeah, I went up to Maine for about a year and a half, lived up there, and that's where I met my wife. And then I left
from there. She was from Boston, right?
She was, yeah.
So, all right, but then you decided to go back to Nashville, and really songwriting is where you began all of this, not the performance.
Right. When I left Maine, I went to New Orleans.
Oh, that's right.
And I played down there. My last run was 72 nights in a row. Played at the Old Absence House 5 nights a week on Bourbon Street.
Oh, wow.
And played at Tipitino's every Thursday in a place called Tyler's Beer Garden on Tuesday nights. But I kind of got worn out. Again, it was just playing clubs, and I started thinking there's really not a great retirement program in what I'm doing here. And so I was interested in trying to do something that was a little more long-term and get into some songwriting and publishing and building some copyrights and a catalog. And had a dear friend, actually was my roommate at Sewanee in high school, was working for Charlie Daniels' publishing company, and he invited me to come to town. And for 10 years, actually, before I met Ronnie, I wrote songs for a living and was really fortunate to scratch out a pretty good living at it.
Well, now you're helping young stars now, though, aren't you, a little bit? You do.
I try, I mean, anytime you see somebody with talent and whatever, you do it for selfish reasons, too.
Right.
These kids are great, and you want to be a part of their success. That's always the fun thing, and it's fun for me now, just rebuilding my career and doing different things. It's great to start over and get fired up, and it's really fun seeing new talent that is going to have success and being a part of their train.
One of the things that I was amazed about was I was looking at is that political campaigns have seemed to want to use your songs, both Republicans and Democrats, right?
It's pretty funny. W used Only in America for, I should say, President Bush. That's rude. For both his campaigns, and then I was shocked at Obama's speech in Denver at the stadium when he got done and brought his family out and they started playing my song. Yeah,
your song.
And I looked at Barbara and I said, God, it's really kind of strange. You would think it had sort of become a Republican hang tag, And so, what do you think of that? And she said, I think you ought to really be proud. And I said, that's exactly how I'm feeling. That it's a song that's not political and it doesn't say Republican or Democrat, but just something that Americans can get their hands around.
Isn't that great? What is the song that you're proudest of? Is that one of them, or?
Yeah, probably the one that just pops in my mind is Red Dirt Road. Yeah. It's a song that I really think says a lot about what life's about and what things mean. And every time I sing that song, I think about my grandfather who lived in Farmerville, Louisiana, and was just a great man in a real small town at Marion, actually close to Farmerville. And I remember when I was a kid, we would always go look. He had just plots of land here and there that they would cut timber off of and stuff like that. And more than anything, I remember those hard red dirt roads. And Ronnie spent a lot of his growing up around El Dorado, Arkansas. And it was fun because that was where he and I found some common ground talking about those roads one day. Right. And I said, it's a song, but it's more than about just going down the road.
Metaphor for life as you're going down the road.
Yeah.
Well, we're in an awfully pretty part of that country now here. How do you feel about Louisiana right now?
I always feel great about Louisiana. I mean, you would expect me to say that, but we're so unique. I mean, we're just so unique. We got parishes. We're really unique. Always have been. I mean, I've always felt like, and you look at the history from New Orleans to Shreveport and the towns, the cities, the state itself, and our history. I feel like we're like no place in the world, and I never hesitate to take time to brag on what we do and what we're doing.
Your big bus is outside here. I saw it as I pulled up. Are you in it very much now? You were in it a lot before.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're still traveling.
I'm in it every chance I get. I mean,
you like it?
Yeah, my whole life's a vacation. It's great. It's when I hear the door click on that bus, I'm always in a good mood. Yeah, I've got my whole world inside, and always happy to be going somewhere.
Tell me, I'm fascinated by the movie business and this acting. So when you were at Tech, were you in some plays here?
Yeah, I actually wrote a 3-act play my senior year, and that we performed, and the theater group did, and I was in in several different productions, and we were fortunate. Katie Robinson was our director at the time, and she was good friends with Anthony Zerbe and Valerie Harper and some big time stars that came in and gave us some tools and some skills that I feel like you really couldn't get anywhere else.
So you're the host of a radio program. It's called American Country Countdown, and is it fun? Do you enjoy doing it?
Of course I enjoyed doing it.
Why would you do it?
I think people forget sometimes that people in the music business, entertainers in particular, are the biggest fans of what we do, of music, or for me, obviously, country music. I mean, that's why you dedicate your whole life to it and eat, live, and breathe and bang on your guitar all the time, just because you want to be like, for me, it was Johnny Cash or Roger Miller or Hank Williams, those people when I was a kid, Johnny Horton, that so inspired me.
You grew up near Johnny Horton, right?
Johnny Horton lived a couple of blocks from us. His daughter went to grade school with me in Shreveport. But so for me now to have a radio show, it's a countdown show that Casey Kasem started. Actually, it's the oldest countdown show out there. And I've been doing it about 6 years now. It's really fun, and all the people primarily that I'm counting down, we got some young artists coming up, but most all of them I've been on tour with at one time or another or whatever. So it's really fun to have that perspective and what I know about them and what I still do with them. And I think it's maybe kind of unique that that they got a bud on there giving them grief every week, and it is fun.
But the business has changed since you first got into it. How has it changed particularly?
Probably the biggest thing is just the fact that you can download single songs off the internet now. And when we started, you pretty much had to buy a CD to get our song. So I think a whole body of work was really potentially more important when we got started, which I still think is very important. A lot of times now a fan will hear a song on the radio and they'll just get that one song and maybe not the whole body of work and whatever. But at the same time, it's real easy to get music and whatever. You don't have to go to the music store. So a lot of fans at home, they like music, they're downloading it, and they're buying songs right and left, and so from that standpoint, it's good. But honestly, it really doesn't change that much as far as what we do and writing songs and the fact that music really goes in cycles. You'll hear people always talk about, well, country's too pop now, or it's too traditional, or it's too this or that. But it was the same way then, and it was the same way when Jim Reeves and Eddie Arnold and those guys were pop stars. Johnny Cash was a pop star.
Sure.
I mean, we've always had crossover, or whatever you want to call it. And there's great traditionalists still making music, and there's guys like Rascal Flatts and Lady Antebellum that you can say it's pop music, but if you do, you're not really listening to pop music, because that's a whole other world over there. It's not like Lady Gaga.
When did you first realize that you had hit the big time? What was the first really big moment where as Brooks and Dunn, you're like, hey, this is the big time?
I don't know. We were fortunate early on, and it probably has a lot to do with why we stayed together so long. Ronnie and I didn't know each other from Adam. We had a record company introduced us for lunch and asked us if we wanted to be a duo, which neither one of us had any desire to do, really. But it was a small record company, and they had Alan Jackson signed already, so they didn't want another guy singer to try and promote. Yeah. So, but the Judds were breaking up at the time. They said, if you guys are willing to be a duo, this label head, Tim Dubois, said, I really like what both of you do. I think you could do it. And we're like, I don't know. This just feels weird. We don't know each other. Even, we met that day. And he said, well, just see if you can write a song. And that was on a Tuesday. Thursday we wrote Brand New Man, and Friday we wrote Working on My Next Broken Heart. Ronnie had already written Neon Moon and Boot Scootin' Boogie, and I'd written a song called Lost and Found. those are our first 5 hits. You know, we had all number ones off that first album, and we were just off to the races. I mean, within 6 months, we were on tour with Reba McEntire playing in big coliseums and stuff. So we didn't even have a chance to catch our breath. I mean, I think probably the thing that, I don't know if it's what makes you think you hit the big time, because all of it was just a whirlwind dream for us, you know, it really was. But being able to go to award shows and actually win, and have my father there, who really encouraged me to go to Nashville and not try and just play clubs and be a big fish in a small pond kind of thing. It was really proud. He and I were real close, and to get to share all that stuff with him, you know, was really.
Was he an oil man?
He was in the pipeline business. He's a
right.
pipeline contractor, engineer.
It's a wonderful thing that he encouraged you, because some parents would say, "Oh, don't do that music business. You'll never make any money in it."
And nothing inspired me more. And the same with my grandfather, because you know, when growing up, he always encouraged me to be a doctor. His father had been a doctor, you know, and for him that was, you know, that was integrity. And when he realized I wasn't going to be a doctor, but I was playing guitar all the time, you know, I remember again driving around with him one time saying that you might make something of your music one day. And you could have knocked me over with a feather, you know. And the same thing for my father, who was a brilliant engineer. I actually took a semester of engineering at Tech, you know, just to try and make him happy, and realized I didn't have the gray matter between my ears to be an engineer. It just wasn't where I was geared. The greatest thing he ever did, though, was my first year at Tech, he made me study business. He said, "You're going to be in business school your first year. After that, I don't care. But whatever you do, if you're successful at it, you need to have a good head on your shoulders and know how to deal with it."
Because I've seen a lot of artists who are talented, but then they lose everything.
Happens all the time.
And so that was awfully good advice.
It certainly was. But beyond that, he encouraged me in my music career all the way.
Well, what do you think about your children going into various careers? I mean,
they're, you know, my kids are smarter than me. I mean, my son graduated from Vanderbilt. He's a screenwriter, and actually I got him hired on different projects just because he thinks so young and so smart. And you know, it's like when we think we've come up with great script ideas, he brings that youth and that energy to it and goes, "That's cool, but what if you went here and if you did there and you took this plot line and did that?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, I was going to do that, yeah." And my daughter's getting her master's degree in New York. She's a graphic artist, and she's at the Visual Arts Institute up there and doing great.
Well, now Tim McGraw's moved over to doing movies too. You all are all.
He's made a few. He's doing good. Yeah, we're good buds. He's a neighbor.
Is there sort of a Louisiana Exiles Club there in Nashville? Do you all ever get together and eat crawfish?
We all know where we come from, yeah.
Well, I was looking also back at some of the moments in your bio, and you did have the privilege of going over there to Iraq to perform as well. That must have been awfully meaningful.
Privilege is a good way of putting it, too. I do consider it an honor. And it's really a shame that all Americans don't get that opportunity to really see what our guys are up against over there, because Iraq was really tough, but Afghanistan is just brutal. I mean, it is just a desolate dust storm over there. I mean, to see what those guys are dealing with every day and where they're living and how they're living, man, I just can't wait to get every one of them out of there and get them back home. It's really tough. But yes, I traveled with Robin Williams and a good songwriter buddy of mine, Bob DePiro, went over with me, and Lance Armstrong, the bicycle rider, and we'd travel in helicopters, Black Hawks, and Ospreys all day long to really remote camps, and at night we'd hit Kandahar or Kabul or some major base where our guys were maybe 6,000-8,000 people, and we'd do a big show every night. And I run into them all the time in airports and stuff like that. You know, if I see somebody in uniform, I always go and tell them I appreciate their service. And they go, "Oh yeah, I saw you and so and so." I'm like, "Really?" And you know, it makes you feel good. And they always tell you how much they appreciate you being there. And I always tell them how much I appreciate them being there, because I'm in and out, you know, and they're living it.
Well, now, do they recognize you without your hat?
Not usually.
Not usually.
Most people don't. Yeah.
Do you wear it
if
always?
I'm not with Ronnie and I don't have my hat on, I don't wear my cowboy hat on. I usually have a ball cap on.
Do you go to clubs in Nashville and try and hear young artists coming up?
Yeah, I go to clubs in Nashville and play.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a Bluebird. Is
Bluebird Cafe?
It's still there?
It's still there, absolutely. Which, for people that don't know, it's kind of the songwriter now, it's really pretty much all hit songwriters that play there. I think they have one night a week, but you still have to audition to play. It is writers at the top level, and that's really where I got discovered. I was playing there one night, and actually a guy that turned out to be Garth Brooks' manager saw me playing in there and introduced me to my first publisher and got me into business.
Well, we thank you so much for taking the time
to
visit with us and for being a Louisiana legend. We're proud of you.
Well, I'm so proud y'all think I'm worthy. Golly, it's a lot to live up to.
Well, we know you will, and maybe we'll have a conversation later about all the other exciting things that you're working on.
I look forward to it.
Well, thank you, Kix.
Good deal. You got it.
And thank you for joining us on Louisiana Legends.
For a copy of this program, call 1-800-973-7246 or go online to www.lpb.org.
Funding for this program was provided by Community Trust Bank, serving the communities of North Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi for more than a century. Community Trust Bank is a proud partner of LPB's Louisiana Legends.
Funding for this program was provided by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.